Alright, it's Sunday, August 22nd. Getting ready to get hot. It's about 9:30ish and it's already very uncomfortable here. Kentucky is not the hottest state in the country, and it's not the coldest state in the country. But one thing you can guarantee, it's most of the time it's uncomfortable. So, Crystal, look out. She stays under my feet. She's still a puppy, but she's getting to be a bigger puppy. So the crank is in for the 429, and the block, of course. The crank, he claimed 20 under from standard, cleaned it up. It was already 10 under. I'll have to check my clearances before I order anything, but we got something else going on right now. We want to try to do a little bit of racing before the season ends, and everything I order just takes forever. My tires for the trailer came in. I already got this side done. I put new tires on these and on this side and repacked the wheel bearings. I had to order seals. It's a big seal. It's a 3 3/8 or 2 3/8 outside diameter or OD, and 2-inch 250 or 2 1/4 ID. I checked around online for local places. I did not actually go out and go from store to store because I find out that's usually a waste of a day and gas if I do that. So I just order stuff. And here they are right here. And sure enough, trailerparts.com, they had what I needed, but shipping was delayed and they just came in Friday. The slips for the race car, I ordered the Phoenixes, which I love to run. I need the soft compound, which were not available immediately through Jegs or Summit. Now they're on back order. You just can't buy anything now with the current situations going on. And I'm going to try not to get political about it, but it is political. The reasons are political. My slicks are expected to ship 11/18 of 2021. Well, that won't do me no good now, will it? So I can either run these junky old slicks, which already have too hard of a compound, which I believe is why the car wasn't leaving like it used to during my short comeback of racing. So I can either make a few passes with the junk I have, which I really don't want to do, or I may try another brand, either a Hoosier or a Mickey Thompson. And I'm not familiar with their compounds. I need to research that. So after I get this trailer back in shape, I'll go ahead and see what other brands of slicks I can get. But it's possible I may not get to race this year just because everything is so screwed up. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this side. Just going to remove the tires, dismount them, mount new ones, balance them on the bubble balancer. And I am thinking about buying me a digital balancer at a later date. I have to make room for it, but it's something I've always wanted, and I'd be curious to see how the bubble balancing compares to the digital. I know the digital's better, but the bubble balancing for stuff like trailer tires and stuff, it gets you by. But enough talking. First thing I want to do is break loose all my lug nuts before I even jack up the trailer. Okay. Always remember, and I've learned this the hard way so many times, to break your lug nuts loose before you jack it up. Because that way you don't have to figure out how to hold your wheel still while it's in the air. I know my little impact would not break these loose. And I don't have a deep well, and I need one. I got one somewhere, but I don't know where it is. These are very tight. Hang on. I have never ever had the wheels off this trailer since I've owned it. Wow. Those threads could be, we'll definitely use some anti-seize on them. Okay, it's coming loose now. Ooh, the sun is bearing right down on me. Yeah. I'll do this side, and we'll get her jacked up. I just wanted to show the jack that I use to jack up this trailer. I do have, my biggest hydraulic jack is a 3-ton. It's a big, heavy steel floor jack, and I don't want to wrestle it under here. But even a 3-ton, when the car's in the trailer, it's really not adequate to pick up this trailer. But this old antique jack right here, it's slow. It can be awkward if you don't use it a lot, but it does do the job. And honestly, I need, and in order to keep my hand from rubbing the tire, I need to let it back down and rotate it just a little bit. Just like that. My dad used to call these Model T jacks, and he used to have one. Always thought it was a cool item. I was always liked old stuff even when I was a kid. And somewhere along the line, and as I grew up, it got lost. I could have sworn that I took it with me when I moved away and bought my first home. But somewhere in the move from there to this house, it got lost. I found 2 of these that were frozen up at a swap meet, $5 a piece. I bought them just for memory's sake, and I got them unfrozen, and they're really handy. I mean, it's like I said, it's slow and it's awkward, but I don't know how much weight that they're capable of picking up. But it's even a trailer with a car in it, it's picks it up quite easily. You just got to make sure you have a good base under it. You don't want to stick it in the dirt. It'll just sink in the dirt and fall over. And I'm only going to remove 1 tire at a time. That way, in case something goes wrong, it won't fall on the ground. Crystal, why you gotta get under there? This is why I leave 1 tire. Only do 1 tire at a time and leave the rest of them on. She's got to get under everything dangerous. And it looks like the handle for my other camera holder broke. And I can't leave these laying here because the dog will carry them off. And look, an ugly, vicious-looking caterpillar with ugly stingers on it. Found it on the garage floor, and I'm sure if I hadn't have found it before the dog did, she'd have swallowed it and possibly had issues. Got to get rid of him. Hot out here already. People in Texas be like, you don't know what hot is. And people in the north be like, you don't know what cold is. Anything past 90 with a lot of humidity is hot to me. This one doesn't have the cotter key. got these caps. I kind of like them. I'll show you how they work after I get all the grease cleaned off of it and put it all back together. This takes 1.5 inch socket. Wow, that was loose. That was very loose. I know some people like to torque them down to set a preload, then back them off. Sure, you probably want to do that with new races. If you're just checking and repacking, I usually just turn the drum while I tighten the nut. Man, that's almost watery. It needed some fresh grease. Even bearing grease needs to be changed. But I usually just snug the nut down and kind of tighten a little bit, not super tight. Make sure I can still spin the hub. I'm going to back it off a little bit until I feel some play and just snug it in until I don't feel play. I've always had good luck doing that. There's plenty of different ways to do it, and some people think their way is the only way. I'm more of an open man. Ooh, look at all the ugly bugs and spider webs and all kinds of stuff. Drum looks good. It's full of dirt. It looks good. And right there is part number. I learned from my other trailers that when you want to do brakes, it's price-wise and time-wise, you're better off just ordering the whole backing plate with brakes and all, your electric magnet and all assembled. You just stick it on, and for the price difference, I'm not going to say it's cheaper because I can't remember. It could be, but for the time you save, you're just better off. And if this still somewhat works, you can always stick it in your trailer and have a spare in case you have an emergency on the road. So, I'm going to get out of this hot sun. We'll clean this off later. Yes, I destroy the seal when I take it out. I don't have a seal extractor if there is such a thing. It does make it easier to measure when you don't know your exact part number. On the next episode of Dirty Jobs, yeah, that definitely needs some fresh grease. Now, even if I had a nice degreaser tank, I do have a degreaser tank, but it's homemade. But if I had a nice one with a pump and a brush and everything, I would still get all this out that I can because this will dirty up some good degreaser in a heartbeat. I'll just get some old rags, sometimes paper towels, and just throw it away. Got some paper towels over here too. Old rags that I don't care about. Work better though. Just get as much as I can, Yeah. My drums are in pretty good shape. I'm just going to clean them up with some sandpaper. I'm sanding this surface because this is where your electric brake, whatever magnet grips onto right here. Whenever you hit the brakes, electricity is applied to the magnet, turns the magnet on, and it grips it. Got a little bit of a groove there. That's about. The brake is used, I think, rides like right here. What I do is always sand this surface, and I clean up the actual magnet too. Still have a little rust on it. And now I clean it once more. Make sure no dust got inside where the grease is going to be. They got cleaned up like brand new in there. The races look pretty good. So we're going to pack it with grease. And my spindles also have grease fittings on it. I'll show you that when I get it together. And after I fill this up with grease and pack my bearings and get it all together, I'm going to use my grease gun and pump about 15 shots into that. I don't have a bearing packer. I don't even know what a bearing packing tool looks like. I think one does exist. I've never used one. I usually just do this. Try to shove it down in here, and I do it on the other side too. Push it in. Also like to spread it around the surface. Try to spin it. Just get as much in there as you can. Stick my seal in. Get started. You can almost push these about halfway in. Always make sure you got something that, get the other seal and show you. If you go to tapping a seal in with something, make sure it's big enough to cover the entire seal. If you were to have it, say, like that, right here is a rigid part of the seal, but if you were beating on that surface right there, it would damage the seal. So you want to make sure it's something that is at least as big as or bigger than the actual seal. Then you can also beat it in flush like that. Hammer. Make sure it's going in straight, which it looks like it is. Sometimes they tend to, if you don't hit it dead in the middle, mostly is what causes it, they tend to go in crooked. Not good. If you do get started crooked, just kind of compensate for it. Almost there. Looks like I'm a little high on this side. There we go. Just kind of make sure all gets flush all the way around. That way, because you got it crooked, it's not going to seal very good. It could damage the seal and come apart on you while going down the road. You won't know it Okay, all your grease comes out, your bearing gets hot. We know what happens then. Make sure your bearing rotates with that seal pressed in there. And that's all of that part. And then I'll flip it. Make sure my hands are clean. Get some more grease. In the hot sun. Right here is the brake magnet. That's the magnet that actually grabs the drum. Still in pretty good shape. I'm going to scuff it up just to be sure. A little bit of lacquer thinner, no oil at all in it. And also spray to my bearing surface, get any rust or dirt off of that. Oh, it's going to be hot in here. I'll do this as quick as I can because it's hot. Smelly tire air in my mouth. Good. I know, I'm supposed to wait till it stops hissing altogether. Wow, these break easy. There's no cleaning either. The wheels stay clean. It's because no one probably used any kind of grease or soap on it. Yeah. Okay, I found, again, like I learned everything else the hard way, it's easier to bring it off the front side because the rim has two different ledges and the one in the back is wider. It's just harder to get the tire off. I'll show you what I mean when I get the rim off. I would prefer to take it off on the back side because you're less likely to damage your aluminum wheel surface. But it's just very hard, at least when you're doing it manually like this, to get that tire off from the back side. This is not the best tire dismounting tool for aluminum wheels, but the way I see it, aluminum wheels are easily, if you damage or scratch an aluminum wheel, it's easy to sand and polish. Repair anything you may have done need some sort of lubricant. Try to make everything as slick as possible. This part of this helps the tire slide off easier. I'm also want my surface that I'm going to spin this thing around on. And that's not working. I need a screwdriver or something. This is where I should have the proper tire spoons, but I don't have them, so I'm going to have to do it this way. Woo! Not too bad. Oh no, I'm ruining my wheels. Well, I have taken them to people who also scratched up my wheels. There it goes. Yeah. Yay. Not too bad. Almost knocked a weed ear on my head. Whew. Too much sweating going on there for me. If I thought it was going to be difficult to get the tire to actually seat, I would fill it up with the air first without the tire valve. But the other two I did, there's that tire valve tool I was looking for. But the other two I did, they're not too bad. So, there. I was hoping the air compressor wouldn't kick on when it did the loud pop. It looks like I need a weight right about where this M is. Oh. We'll just stick one at a time on and see what happens. Stick on aluminum weights. I love them. Let's see, I said it would line up with the M. We'll stick one. Got a ½ ounce weight right here. So you made a difference. I've made videos on this in the past. I'm sure somebody will make the same comments on this one. Bubble balancers are a waste of time. Maybe they are. And I do want to get a digital balancer at a later date. And I'm curious to see all the wheels I've balanced in the past. I'm curious to see how they will check on a digital balancer. That's about as good as I'm going to get it on this. I guess the good news is all of them have taken the exact amount of weight to get the bubble in the center. Okay, can I slide this on without popping the outer bearing out on the ground? I usually can't. So this time I'm really going to try. I promise to be careful. Yeah, I did it. You know, a little bit, but it's not on the ground. A bunch of dirt didn't stick to it. Yeah. Can you see? No? I don't care. Now. Sure. Nut. Wrench. Been out in the hot sun. Burn medicine. Oh, it's hot out here. Getting tender in my old age. Just brakes rubbing. I like that. Every time I try to say something, my compressor kicks on. I snug it down. I know there's a procedure where you can torque it and back it off. So all that. What I do is I just snug it down and spin it. Then I loosen it back up. Feel a little bit of play, and that's about the way it was when I took it off, which was unacceptable. I'm going to do that. Spin it. Rock it. I don't feel anything. And we'll put a little locking mechanism on here. I like these. There's a flat on a spindle, and you got a little tab there. You line that up with the flat. And it's kind of a spring-loaded deal. You just push it on, make sure it's up against there tight, and you're done. Now, where's my rubber mallet? I know what's that. Good enough. You know, you could be in the cool basement. You're free to go in, but whatever floats your boat. Okay, so we got our wheel and tire back on it. Bearings packed, of course. You see me do all that. And I'm not going to film doing the other one, of course. That would be kind of silly. But it sounds pretty smooth. Feels smooth. And I'm going to try to show you something that worked on the other side. As you can see, I got my jack kind of in between the wheels on the frame, and I found out that if you run the Electra-Track all the way up, the front wheel breaks free from the ground, and on the other side I was able to let it all the way down and the back wheel came free. Let's see if I can get lucky and do that. As low as it'll let me go. Looks like it's off the ground. Cool. It kind of saves me some extra jacking time there. So, and as you can see, this is why I did not want to take more than one wheel off at a time. She's under there. Why do dogs prefer to sleep in dirty places when they have clean places? Anyway, I'm going to call this a video. And in the next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be about. Hopefully, well, it'll either be I'll order another pair of slicks for the black car and I'll put them on, or I may start checking into things on the Torino's engine. Depends on which I have available, which parts I have available. So thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, do it. And hopefully my videos will get a little more exciting as soon as we get all stuff like this out of the way.